Good afternoon, everybody. So today I will quickly review what we have learned in last week. So we have been studying Lamrim for almost more than 1 year, almost 2 years. And make sure your daily practices, your daily actions, activities go accordingly the Lamrim. And also make sure, the more you study Lamrim, the more you got and know how to do the perfect Dharma practice, and also to make sure so when we leave this world, make sure we can have something in our mind to bring to next life. So the main reason to study Lamrim is mainly for practice in this life, subdue all the negative thoughts, particularly subdue the self-center, the strong ego. So make sure the Dharma. The more you learn Dharma, the more you can have positive thoughts. And also the idea of, you talk about bodhicitta. Bodhicitta, generally there's two types, conventional bodhicitta and ultimate bodhicitta. So ultimate bodhicitta is just, the realization which is realize emptiness is called ultimate bodhicitta. So within the conventional bodhicitta, there are two types of bodhicitta. One we call aspirational bodhicitta, second we call the engaging bodhicitta. So right now we are studying mainly about the aspirational bodhicitta. So I hope some of you have a clear idea what does mean aspirational bodhicitta. Some of you have still, I think, not clear understanding. So after you practice, use all the two different methods, whichever you want. The methods to generate bodhicitta using the 7 cause and effect, using the methods of exchanging self and other. So whichever you want, you use the methods and generate the bodhicitta within your mind. So this bodhicitta, what we call aspirational bodhicitta, that means you have a strong motivation, you have a strong mind to achieve Buddhahood, in order to benefit all sentient beings. This kind of particular mind, what we call aspirational bodhicitta, you just have a strong wishing to achieve Buddhahood, but you are not really engaged all the practices. For example, the people wish to go to somewhere, the person or the people have strong desire to go to somewhere, but the person haven't, start the journey. When the person start journey, it look like the journey is look like engaging into the bodhisattva deeds or bodhisattva practices. So when you receive, when you taking the aspirational bodhicitta vows, that's when you are making commitment. When you make a commitment in your mind, you must remember the bodhicitta is as a object in your mind. Object. So focus the bodhicitta which you have. You just focus the bodhicitta, then you think this bodhicitta, I'm never ever going to give up. So just focus the bodhicitta, make a commitment, in front of Buddhas, in front of Guru. Then the bodhicitta, we can call, experiential bodhicitta vows. Second, after you generate bodhicitta, make sure the bodhicitta is not really, weakened in this life as well as next life. Then they talk about, how you can maintain the bodhicitta in this life as well next life. Then first they talk about, the 4 practices. So what are they? The first 4 practices not weakening in this life. The first 4 practices are, first is, I think, the recalling the benefit of bodhicitta. Right? What is the second? You must remember the bodhicitta 6 times every day. So what is the number 3? Or not abandon any sentient beings. So what is the number 4? Or collection of 2 types of merits. So because you really have to really have to see the bodhicitta is so important factor to achieve Buddhahood. So make sure the bodhicitta is not, decline, not diminish, not weaken. So in this life, then you have to practice 4 of them. So when you think about the benefits of bodhicitta, then you can have a strong, motivation, strong kind of desire to practice the bodhicitta because you can see all the benefits. The most important one, so in order to achieve Buddhahood, you must practice bodhicitta. Without bodhicitta, you cannot achieve Buddhahood. Second, then every day, if you remember the bodhicitta, then you must 6 times, then the bodhicitta, the mind is always within in you in the visible way. That's mean, when you get up in the morning, so you just simply visualize the merit field. Simply visualize, the merit field. Or simply visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, Mitriya Buddha, Manjushri, as well as your Guru. Just simply you just visualize your Guru and think, all sentient beings in suffering, they have a lot of suffering. Then generate the great compassion and bodhicitta. They recite that, the verses taking refuge in bodhicitta. Morning, then, like 9 o'clock, then after lunch, then around 5 o'clock, around 7 o'clock, and before you go to bed. 6 times. This means, you heat the water, you are boiling water, continuously, boil the water, you continuously add the wood, continuously you need to add the gas, kerosene, whatever. If you add, the wood continuously, then it continuously heat the pot. The water continuously can boil. So this means the mind, you always keep in your mind, make sure you don't forget, the bodhicitta, the 6 times. Then, within those 4, make sure you don't have any sense of hatred towards anybody. This means when you generate great compassion, so you need to generate equanimity, towards your enemy, your friends, indifferent beings. So if you abandon a particular person, then for you so difficult to say, I have compassion towards all sentient beings. So those are the practice more mainly for make sure you don't forget the practice of bodhicitta in this life. Then second, what we talk, then another few conditions. Merit. Before that, within the first subheading, there are true, right? I think there are true. I think there's a true second benefit. Here, not giving up your development of aspirational spirit. Second, the training to increase the aspirational spiritual enlightenment. These are true. Then, so how you can, you cannot give up the practice of bodhicitta, because when you generate bodhicitta, also when you check the vows of aspirational bodhicitta vows, so first you visualize all the Buddhas, then you second visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, third you visualize your root guru. Within the visualization, you make a commitment. That means all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, particularly your guru, is your guru is the witness about your practice. Then the next we talk about 4 black actions, or 4 black practices, and the 4th, the light or white practices. Then within the 4, there's a lot of discussion. So I will tell you the page number. Okay, page number 80, because last time Kwanji raised the question, so I don't think people are very clear about that. And the last, number C, right, page 80, the last sentence, C, they say, the methods, that means you generate bodhicitta, also you made a commitment to continuously practice the bodhicitta. Then also you know all the practices, which is not forget the practices of the bodhicitta. Also you know the cause and condition to decline or weaken the bodhicitta. Then if, say just in case, if my bodhicitta is weakened, no more within me, so expressional bodhicitta, what should I do? This means they say the methods of repairing the spiritual enlightenment, if you do weaken it. So here you need to know very important thing, the different the difference bodhicitta and expressional bodhicitta vow. There's a two thing. This you make a separate bodhicitta, then aspirational bodhicitta vow. True. It is separate. So, for example, someone, just generate bodhicitta. The person has a bodhicitta, but the person never made any commitment to, practice the bodhicitta in front of Guru, in front of Buddha. This means the person has a just bodhicitta. The person doesn't have the aspirational bodhicitta. Is clear? Okay, first important. So, third, even though the person has a bodhicitta, the person engage into practice of 6 prajna paramita, 6 perfections. Even though without taking bodhisattva vows, the person continuously, person practice bodhicitta as well as 6 perfections. But still, we just can call the person as a bodhicitta. The bodhicitta is haven't yet become the engaging bodhicitta. Engaging bodhicitta. Clear? First bodhicitta, second aspirational bodhicitta vows, third and engaging bodhicitta. So what's the difference? Is 3 of them. They simply, the person just generate very fresh bodhicitta. The person has the bodhicitta, but the bodhicitta is not yet be aspirational bodhicitta because the person haven't taken the aspirational bodhicitta vow. Clear? First. Then second, so what is the differences between aspirational bodhicitta and engaging bodhicitta? Engaging bodhicitta. Yes, the person practice bodhicitta. There's a two different views from different masters. Some master says, after you fully generate bodhicitta, when you engage, when you practice one of the paramita, then the bodhicitta we can call engaging, right? Bodhicitta. Many master said this way. So other master said, even though without taking bodhisattva's vow, even though the person practice 6 paramita, top of bodhicitta, we cannot name engaging bodhicitta. That means some master says the bodhicitta, in order to become the bodhicitta as a engaging bodhicitta, the person must take bodhisattva vows. Some master says no need to take bodhisattva vows. Just generate bodhicitta, practice 6 paramita, then we can say the bodhicitta is engaging bodhicitta. I hope you remember in Lamrim already said, even though you practice 6 paramita or not, without taking bodhisattva vows, the bodhicitta is just aspirational bodhicitta, not engaging bodhicitta. Okay? Then the ultimate bodhicitta is not just the mind which is realize emptiness directly. The mind that we can call ultimate bodhicitta. It's very clear. Next, look at the methods of repairing the spirit enlightenment if you do awaken it. It's talking about aspirational bodhicitta. Many scholars state the following view. You relinquish the aspirational spirit enlightenment if a certain period or pass, and there are the 4 dark practice. Okay, 4 dark practice. What are they? 1, Okay. What are the four? Deceiving, your gurus, or deceiving like a Buddha and Bodhisattvas is one. Second, yes. Then number three. Okay, disparagement. Number three. Number four. What is the number four? Huh? Number four. Somebody, for example, somebody doesn't have any regret about the Mahayana practices, then you try to them have a regret. This is one, right? Those will be what we call, the black four black action. We cannot use the four black practice. He said, four dark practice. Together with the fifth what? The mentally abandoning living being. Then this is because of one. The another one, casting aside the spirit of enlightenment by thinking I cannot accomplish Buddhahood. That means they talk about number 6. Number 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 are the four dark practice. The fifth, abandoning living being. Then number 6 is what? Casting aside the spirit of enlightenment. That means totally there are, six. Then are they the cause of, decline, relinquish bodhicitta or not? This is a question here. That's why some master says here, certain period of pass, and these are the four dark practices: mentally abandoning living being, casting aside the spiritual enlightenment. Those are the 6. Then let's look at it. I cannot accomplish the Buddhahood. However, if within a period of time you regret these 6, they weaken the aspirational spirit of enlightenment, but do not cause you to abandon it. Then there's a number 6. One of them, if you have one of the one of the thing in your head, but you need to pass certain time. That means, let's say, is the last period of time is the early morning. Early morning is not referred to the 1 o'clock according to the Buddhist tradition. Morning you can divide into 3 parts. First, when you look at in the morning in the sky, and the sky color is very blue. This is because the first part of early morning. Second, when you look at the sky in the morning, the sky change bit milky color. This is the middle of the early morning. Still then when you look at the sky change as a bit, the red color. The color change as a red. Is the last part of early morning. If you have thoughts, you should think, I cannot accomplish Buddhahood. I cannot practice bodhicitta. I want to give up. You think this way. Like the mind, you keep continuously until the first part of early morning. Then you don't have any more explanation of bodhicitta. Then here say, look at enlightenment, but do not cause you to abandon it. That means there's a, those are the cause to the weaken bodhicitta, not cause to abandon the bodhicitta. And if you fail to adopt the spiritual enlightenment 6 times each day and allow you to turning the true collection of the creation to generate, it only weakens spiritual enlightenment. If cause of recollections is occur, you must repair the ritual for adopting the spiritual enlightenment. This means explain how there can be cause. There's 2 types of cause. No, there can be 2 different way cause. One is for just weaken. Second is can be cause to abandon. So this I hope last time I think is difficult. I think not so clear. Then next, I thought I should explain this one. Then page number 84, the position of Tsongkhapa. 84. Thus, my own position is that, with the exception of precept not to relinquish the aspirational enlightenment and not mental abandon living being, breaking the precept does not constitute transgression relief to the spiritual enlightenment until you receive the Bodhisattva vows. It's very clear, huh? Look at. There's a true, it's very clear, right? My own position is that, with the exception of the precept not to relinquish the aspirational spiritual enlightenment, this is one. Second, do not mentally abandon a living being. True, okay. This true, if you have this true, then breaking the precept does not constitute transgression relief to the spiritual enlightenment until you receive the Bodhisattva vows. That means, if you haven't taken any Bodhisattva vows, if you have this kind of minds, then look at, nevertheless, if you break the precept, you break the precept that come with your commitment to virtues in the interim before you take the Bodhisattva vows. You therefore commitment missed it, and you should make a confession with the full power. So we thought the person haven't checked the vows. If the person have this kind of mind, that means the person, can break the Bodhisattvas. They can break the Bodhicitta, not necessarily, break the precept, break the vows. The person already had taken the vows. Then, this kind of have a thought. Then still, it's a weaken the bodhicitta, but the person can do the confession through the full power that you can, repair the bodhisattvas, aspirational vows. So this thing now, the new topic, I ask you to read page number from where? 86 to 99. Okay, so without looking your Lamrim book, from page number 86 to 99, mainly is talk about what? Okay, first he talk about wisdom and methods must practice unanimely, right? Then second, most important, he talk about what? There is talk about, the Chinese master point of view. So this is very important. So then I told you, the story. I think during 9th or 10th century, there were I think a few Chinese masters who lived in Lhasa, who lived in the particular temple that we call, the kind of the section is mainly for meditation, for mindfulness. Okay, now we just read a little bit page number 85. An introduction to the sixth perfection. Then, how to learn the Bodhisattva deeds after developing the spirit of enlightenment. It has a three paths. So let's just imagine you generate bodhicitta, you accomplish the bodhicitta. Next, how I can practice all the bodhisattva's deeds. Then the reason why you must learn the training after developing the spiritual enlightenment. Number 2, demonstrating that you will not become a Buddha by learning either methods or wisdom separately. Very important. Then number 3, explanation of process of learning the precept. Precept, I told you many times, precept is not talking about vows, it's mainly talking about the practices. Precept means the practices and deeds. Then the reason why you must learn the training after developing the spiritual enlightenment, it is indeed the case they generate the great benefit come from mere development of the aspirational spiritual enlightenment without learning training of the generosity and so forth. If you are able to generate bodhicitta, you can get lot of benefit. Even though you don't practice the 6 paramita, still you can get lot of benefit. Make sure. Then look at next one. However, you still have to practice the bodhisattva training. If you do not emphasize this practice, you will never become a Buddha. So learn the bodhisattva deeds. Bodhisattva deeds here refer to the 6 paramitas. Even though you have the bodhicitta, if you do not practice, if you do not emphasize the 6 paramita, then you never become a Buddha. So what is the what is the connection between Buddhahood, be Buddha, and the 6 paramita? The practice of 6 paramita you can divide into two categories. Practice of methods, practice of wisdom. Why you wish to achieve Buddhahood? Why you wish to be a Buddha? Because you are not saying, I want to be a happy person, I want to be happy. Is not the reason. I want to be a Buddha. Because do you remember the great compassion is like a seeds. The great compassion is look like water. The great compassion is look like ribbon represent the fruit. Right? At the beginning, he said, right? Remember the Mahayana practice. All the Mahayana practice is rooted by great compassion. Great compassion is so important at the beginning, so important in the middle, so important in the end. Right? Look at all the practices you need to practice because of the great compassion is the root, is the root is the beginning. So all your actions is moved by great compassion. For example, the mom has a great compassion, great love towards the child or children. Due to the great compassion, due to the love and kindness, loving kindness, the mother have to do so many things. So many things for what? For the children. This means the great compassion is the main cause to generate bodhicitta. The second is in the middle is important, because if you forget to get compassion, then you cannot practice bodhicitta. Even though when you become a Buddha, if you don't have a great compassion, you're not going to, help any sentient beings. The main goal to be, the main goal to achieve Buddhahood is to benefit all sentient beings. This is the main goal, right? Main goal. Therefore, what's the connection between six paramita and Buddhahood? Because in order to benefit, of course, even though in order to benefit certain people or certain sentient beings, you must know the mentality, right? Their mentality. Sometimes I think everybody experience. I think everybody have experience because you thought I should help this person, that person. When you try to help, the person is totally, the person has a really bad reaction towards you. Because before we help the person, we didn't try to understand the person, the mentality or the person, what we call, their own, personality. Then, so to be Buddha is not just we thinking simply I want to have this person, that sentient being. We're thinking I will have through all sentient beings. So in order to benefit all sentient beings, you must achieve the omniscient, right? The omniscient link with the certain paramita. For example, paramita of the wisdom, paramita of the mindfulness, wisdom. Then, in order to benefit all sentient beings, it is not just enough to have a omniscient. You must appear in the society. You must take a rebirth in the society. You must born in society, or any kinds of realms. So in order to take a rebirth in certain area, certain place, certain realms, you need a physical body. The physical body is not a contaminated body. It's a very pure body. The body is arise mainly, one of the few of the six paramita, which is the method side, the wisdom side. That means so the Drupakaya and Dharmakaya is the main, kind of tools to have sentient being. In order to achieve two, kaya, Rupakaya and Dharmakaya, then you have to practice the six paramita. Some paramita, practice of some paramita can help to achieve the Rupakaya. Some paramita can be cause to achieve Dharmakaya. That's why we have to practice the six paramita. The six paramita practice into the practice of methods and wisdom. So that's why you must know what is the connection or relationship between the Buddhahood and the six paramita. That's why he said, look at, enlightenment is for great bodhisattva who take the practice to heart, but not for those who take taking a wrong practice to heart. That means, so Buddhahood is our achievement. In order to achieve Buddhahood, you must practice the right path, not the wrong path, not the wrong practice. Then there's nothing too much say here. Dharmakirti commentary. Then here I say, look at practice means the methods of achieving Buddhahood. Learning the Bodhisattva training is mainly against 6 paramita. The Bodhisattva who have those developed the spiritual enlightenment understand that without disciplining themselves, they cannot discipline other, and so involve themselves in the practicing of generosity and so forth. Without practice, they will not attain enlightenment. That means, so before the Bodhisattva, for example, before I practice anything, I cannot give advice to anybody, right? So Bodhisattva want to have all sentient beings. Before he help other beings, first he must turn his mind in the positive way. That means, no anger, no attachment, no discouragement, so and so. That's why before, Bodhisattva, before he or she say anything to someone, first he or she must practice first. Then second, he can teach, the 6 paramita to any other beings. Then, number 2, demonstrating that you will not become a Buddha by learning either methods or wisdom separately. So you cannot practice the two, practices are separately. You must practice unionly. It is not enough just to want to attain Buddhahood. You must engage in the methods of achieving it. That is not just enough to, want to attain Buddhahood. You must engage in the methods. Methods here refer to the 6 paramita. This method has to be unmistaking, because no matter how much you strap on the mistaking path, you will not obtain the result. Then again, Kamala says, like milking a horn in the hope to getting milk. It's very big, very important, very big advice for us. Therefore, many of us, we put a lot of effort. We spend a lot of time without practices. So far, we haven't achieved our goal. Even though we can, we haven't not able to subdue our negative thoughts, because we are putting the wrong effort to the wrong practices. Or the methods is right, maybe we are putting the effort towards the wrong practices. That's why we must know what we should practice, how we practice. Now come the real, the homework. Okay, the page number 87, I think, first, second, third, the fourth or the 5th paragraph. Just sentences, Lord of the Secret, another important. The sublime wisdom of omniscience, come from compassion as its root. That means omniscience must come from compassion. Compassion is the root. And also, it comes from the spiritual enlightenment. The omniscient also come from bodhicitta. You can see the big difference. Omniscient comes from compassion as its root. It's a root. The second is the omniscient come from the bodhicitta, right? From the spirit of enlightenment. It is a cause. It's a cause. There is a compassion, is a root. Bodhicitta is the cause. Why is it? Why the person? Why Buddha didn't say bodhicitta is the root of the omniscient, compassion is the cause to omniscient, right? He said compassion is the root, bodhicitta is the cause. Then top of that, look at here. It comes from the enlightenment. It is brought to completion by methods. Methods refer to the bodhicitta. That means all the Mahayana practices rooted by great compassion. If you wish to practice any kind of Mahayana practices, first you practice great compassion. Great compassion is the root. If you are able to practice great compassion, you can able to practice bodhicitta. Then bodhicitta is the main cause to omniscient. Omniscient. Then, even though you have a great compassion, you have the bodhicitta. If you don't practice, the methods, the 6 paramita, then you cannot, have a complete practice of Mahayana. This means great compassion, bodhicitta, 6 paramitas. In regard to this, what regard? Great compassion is the root of the omniscient. Bodhicitta is the cause of the omniscient. Then 6 paramita is the completion of bodhicitta, right? Omniscient. Now, in regard to this, I have already explained compassion. So, at the beginning of the practice of bodhicitta, Tsongkhapa already explained how the bodhicitta is important. Explain. Then the great trailblazer Kamalashila explained that the spiritual enlightenment in both the conventional and ultimate spiritual enlightenment, and that methods is all virtues such as generosity and so forth. That everything explained by Kamalashila. So Kamalashila was one of the very important Nalanda master. So he went to Tibet during the, when they have a Chinese master. So this is the same period of time. So Chinese master were there. Then some of the master, king, one of the king invited him to come to Tibet. Because the king also noticed, there's some kind of problem, the idea from the Chinese master. There's a story. So when the Kamalashila traveling, from India to Tibet, somehow the Chinese master is going other side of the river. I think he's traveling other side. The Kamalashila is going to this side. Let's say, they're going the side by side by the river. But they cannot talk, it's too far. Then what Kamalashila did, he just hold his mala. Mala? So I don't have the mala. Just put the mala in the finger. He just, spring, right? Spring this mala. Or this, whatever, this way. Just spring like this way. The Chinese master saw the action. He spring the mala. When the Chinese master saw what he was doing, the Chinese master just covered his head by clothes like this. That means, that moment, Kamalashila asked the question to the Chinese master, what is the root of the samsara? Samsara is far away. The Chinese master just covered with this ignorance. Not saying the truth is the ignorance. Very clever, huh? Very clever.
I thought that he was afraid that the mala was spin onto his face.
Sorry?
He spin the mala and might just go flying and then hit his face. So they cover his face.
No.
That's what I thought.
No.
No?
So this is the actual story. He cannot debate because it's very far, Also there's there's a big river. They just this doing. You can see, I think, Kamala Shila, is there any picture? Oh, yes, definitely Kamala Shila. Any picture? Yes. Not around here. Kamala Shila. When you go to Dharamsala, I think some of you go to Dharamsala, and then of the main temple, there's a small Sharan. Within the Sharan, there are 8 Narendra Master painting. The painting, you can see he hold the mala like this. So this story. And also, when we study about the Chinese master view, we should not think the master was, stupid. He was very intelligent, also very high practitioner. Look, and that's why here, opinion, opposition, position. Some person, like the Chinese Hasang, we Tibetans say Hashang. I don't know, Hashang, Tibetan we call Hashang. Huh? Hasang. Hasang, okay. Chinese Hasang. Look, who have a mistaken idea about the path of true types of spiritual enlightenment, say, it's not simple, not easy, rejecting this kind of idea. So he has the mistaken idea about part of true types of bodhicitta. Say that any thought, non-virtuous thoughts, of course, but even the virtuous one bind us to sacred existence. He said, doesn't matter positive thought or negative thought. Even though you have a strong faith, so you are guru, strong belief in Buddha, Dharma, this is a kind of thought. The thought always bound in us in sacred existence. So it's not easy to reject this idea. That's why he said, Lord, bound us to sacred existence. So its resolve do not transcend sacred existence. If you have a thoughts, of course, positive, negative thoughts, not question. Even the positive thoughts, the virtuous thought, also, do not transcend sacred existence. It is like being tied up with a golden rope or with the ordinary rope. If somebody tied to you with a golden rope, ordinary rope, your hand and legs is totally tied, you cannot move. That means, doesn't matter positive thoughts or negative thought, still the thoughts bound you in the samsaric circle. You cannot, be transcendent. Then the reason here, look at distance. So it is resolved do not resonate. It is like white or dark clouds covering the sky. Right? Doesn't matter there's a white clouds or black, still it covered, block the pure sky. Or like the pen from being bitten by a white or black dog. Doesn't matter if bitten by a white dog, bitten by black dog, still you have a pain, you have a suffering. Therefore, just seating your mind in a state, that lacks any thoughts is the path to future Buddhahood. This means he said, if you have a thoughts, is bound you in the samsara. You must have a state which is totally lacks of any thoughts, no thoughts in your mind. Then you totally, make a plan to your mind, no thoughts.
Does it mean you stop the thoughts, or you still the thoughts, or you...
You should not have any thoughts.
Is it possible that you don't have thoughts?
Yeah.
Northern school, this is Northern Chinese school.
Yeah, it's possible. So when you study about non-Buddhist, So we have a theorems on desire, form, formless. Within the formless, there are four levels. The third one, nothingness.
Sorry, actually I meant is us as a human being, when we practice, can we have no thoughts?
That's why
The way the
yeah.
says like that. So it's like, now I'm a human, and definitely I'm not in the formless, in that meditative. So there's no possible that I practice that. So how does the Chinese master say that you practice that? You understand what
Okay, it is not easy to reject. For example, so we have a 4 philosophical school. The last one, Pasangika, the highest school, Pasangika, like Chandrakirti, Nagarjuna, Aryadeva, and Buddha Palita. Those are the highest, component in the Pasangika. What they said in the text very clearly, without having any kind of doubt, they said, except the equipoint, right, the meditation state of the Arya. Equipoint, very single pointed, let's say very single pointed, the mental state, except otherwise all, the sentient beings' minds are mistaken mind. Mistaken mind is totally, the mistaken mind. Mistaken mind. That's mean when we generate bodhicitta, is positive mind, still it is mistaken. It's mistaken mind. It's not the right mind, mistaken, not unmistaken mind. Only the is only the single pointed meditation state of Arya. Otherwise, all sentient being minds are it's totally mistaken mind. Why did they said? Whatever. Because within the 4 seals, do you remember the seal number 1? All compounded phenomena are impermanent. Second one, uncontaminated phenomena are nature suffering. This is contaminated. First a compounded, second a contaminated. So according to the first 2 schools, there's a simple idea, the view. They say the physical body is produced by karma. The karma is contaminated by afflictive thoughts. This means the cause and condition are contaminated. That's why the result are contaminated. This is give example. The seed is the poison seeds is produce the poison plant. This simple analogy. Then the Pasangika, the highest school said, when you look at any phenomena within your any kinds of mind, except the single meditation, except the single meditation state of the Arya, any kinds of mind, when you perceive any object, you perceive as exists independently. That's why your all minds are mistaken mind. Why the Chinese master says, if you have a thought, the thoughts mix with the kind of mix with the afflictive mind. That's why I say you should not have any thoughts. You should not have any thoughts. Of course, no negative thought. Of course, positive thoughts. You say your mind totally make a empty. There's nothing in your mind.
But Geshe-la, bodhicitta is a mind.
Yeah.
So, that means you practice, not even practicing bodhicitta.
Have you done your homework?
Geshe-la, I read, but I don't understand.
Okay.
I want to ask.
Okay, that's why here, look at. That's why Tsongkhapa, first he said here, obedient, the position, some person like Chinese master said, then let's hear who look at. Therefore, just sitting your mind in a set state that lacks any thoughts in the path to future Buddhahood, such as the virtues as a generosity. Then he said, the Chinese master continuously says, virtues as generosity and ethical discipline are taught for the foolish people, incapable of such as meditation on the definitive emptiness. Then somebody asked question, why then Buddha talk about generous practice of generosity, practice of ethics? Then he said this kind of teaching taught by Buddha to whom? The foolish people. The foolish people, the Chinese. Then he just simply said his own idea. Then he has a lot of quotation. Here, look at emptiness. To engage in those deeds after you have found definitive word, be like a king descendant to the common study, to like finding an elephant and then searching for its footprints. Right? This means when you understand emptiness, he said, when you understand emptiness, you know emptiness, then still you practicing generosity, ethics, so and so. That means you look like the kings, have to stay in the high state. It come as ordinary beings. Even though you found the elephant, you're still looking the footprint, searching the footprint. He said, in order to find the elephant, you search the footprint of elephant, you can find the elephant. After you already found elephant, you no need to search the footprint. That means all the generosity, compassion, everything meant to be to knowing the emptiness. After you know the emptiness, you don't need any more all the practices. Then he said, look at Hassan attempts to prove. He's a proof this position by citing from the Sutra 80 passages, 80, not only 1 and 2. I think he quoted different quotation, totally 80. Then now he reply, look at reply. Hassan says, as saying, everything to do with the method is not actual path to Buddhahood. Right? He said the only emptiness is the cause, is the practice to achieve Buddhahood. Rest of the thoughts, rest of the practices are not necessary. Everything to do with method is not actually path to Buddhahood. Actually, he path to bound in the samsara, right? According to Hassan. Then says as a tremendous denial of the conventional, and since he refutes analyzing with the discerning wisdom, selflessness, reality, that is the heart of the conquer teaching. He banished the system of ultimate to the far distant. Then he look at this, and then the great Bodhisattva Kamashila excellently refuted with the mass of the scripture station and stainless reasoning. That's why finally Kamala Shila came to Tibet. Then he have a lot of debate with the Chinese master. Debate. Then also he, I think, proved to him the practice of bodhicitta, great compassion. Those are the cause to achieve Buddhahood. It's not obstacle. Then he, I think, Kamala Shila did a lot of quotation from different sutara, also a lot of reasoning. Then next you look at Kamala Shila then wrote the length on the good path, placing to the concord. Nevertheless, there are still some. So this is started by the Chinese master. Somehow the Chinese master left Tibet. But when he left Tibet, I think that time they has, I think, before they debate each other, they has, I think, what we call agreement. So I must debate with you. If I lose, I will leave Tibet. Kamala Shila say, if you lose, you must leave Tibet. They have rules. And also in India, during the Dharma Chandrakirti, Basubandhu, when they have a debate between non-Buddhists, they call all the witness, the kings, there was a witness. They said they debate. If we lose, we will become Hindu. If you lose, you must become Buddhist. There's a rules. Then somehow, through debate of the Kamala Shila, the Hashang, lose his tenets. Then he left Tibet. When he left Tibet, somehow he forgot his one pair of the shoes. One pair of the shoes in Tibet. Pair. Yeah, shoes. Then due to that, kind of unauspicious, then here, nevertheless, there are still some who continue to do just what Hashang did. Because the total decline then is kind of, I think, kind of Tsongkhapa, when he talk about that, he feels a bit very, upset, because the total decline of the Buddha's teaching is drawing near. Number one. Number two, because the excellent person who ascertained with a total certainty through the scripture of definitive meaning and stainless reasoning, all the key point of the path is there entirely are no more. Right? Tsongkhapa feel very upset. This means there's no more. The person, it's the time of the degenerating the Buddha teaching, and there's a time. There's no really, the person who can, explain the complete Dharma teaching. Not only this, because the merit of living being is so minimal, and because there are so many who have little faith in the teaching and feeble intelligence. It is so he says few things, right? That means there's a time of the degenerate of the Buddha teaching. There's no really, master who can completely explain the Buddha teaching. And also the living being like us, we have a very small, amount of merit, of good karma. So we have a very little faith in the teaching. So we are not really that intelligent person. So that's why he said, that this kind of view still maintained in Tibet when Tsongkhapa, around in Lhasa. Then look at the next one. Others do not accept. But somebody said that the view from the Hashang is the right. We all practice as them. Then some others said, others do not accept Hashang, mistaking denial of the factor of methods. Somebody said, no, Hashang was mistaking about the practice of methods. But he was right how to practice of the wisdom. Others do not accept, Hasang mistaking denial of the factor of methods, but assert that this way of understanding the philosophical view is excellent. And still other, cast assert discerning wisdom and calm, claim the Hasang meditation of not thinking is the best. There are so many, follower at that time. Somebody said, the way of the Hasang, the Hasang point of view was totally right. Somebody said he denied the conventional path is wrong. The wisdom side is right. Then somebody said, if you want to meditate on emptiness, you must follow the Hasang. The Hasang, what he said, he is right. Then the path of this person is indeed not at all in the direction of the vicinity of the meditation on emptiness. First Tsongkhapa said, the Hasang said, when you meditate on emptiness, when you practice Dharma, you should not have any thoughts. First, it is not even though, the directions or thoughts, the meditation. He says that you are practicing even though cannot go, the direction of the meditation. Number one.
Sorry, I don't understand that.
Huh?
I don't understand what that means by when you practice, you don't go that direction.
For example, I wish to go to City Hall. Okay, I am walking towards Gelang. Am I going the right direction?
That's wrong, but I don't understand.
Okay. First you listen. So this, I wish to go City Hall. I am walking towards Gelang. So this means my direction is not even though going towards the City Hall. It's totally wrong direction. So if the Hasang said, when you meditate emptiness, you should not have any thoughts. This is the meditation on emptiness. The Tsongkhapa said this kind of meditation is even though not going the direction of the meditation side.
Not even the meditation
Direction.
Emptiness.
Yeah.
So that means it is not emptiness. It's not even meditation.
Yeah. Even though you know meditation, even though not is like kind of emptiness side. Then Tsongkhapa says continuously, the thought of the person is indeed not at all in the direction or vicinity of a meditation on emptiness. First, you must know the real the Hasang view. So, the first time when Buddha talked about Four Noble Truths, Buddha didn't say much about emptiness. Second time, in the Parjana Paramita, in the Heart Sutra teaching, Buddha talked, everything is empty. Empty, right? Emptiness, beginning to end, you can see just empty, empty, empty. Then what Hasang taught? So also I think many of you attend different teaching, particularly some of you already attend Dalai Lama teaching. When he explained about emptiness, first he said, you just do analytical meditation on particular phenomena. For example, this is Magapen. Make sure you should not have a misunderstanding about the explanation of emptiness. Then His Holiness said, just look at this phenomenon, the phenomena. Which one is the Magapen? Which one? This is the lid, not Magapen. This is the top of the Magapen. This is the the bottom of this is the side. If you think this way, then finally you really think there's no Magapen. Right? You think this way. Hasang's thinking that meaning of emptiness is after you study for particular phenomena, finally you cannot find anything. You cannot find anything. This is the meaning of emptiness. Then when you meditate on emptiness, you don't have any object to meditate on. You don't have any object to meditate, because when you meditate on emptiness, you meditate on emptiness after you have done lot of analytical meditation. After you do lot of analytical meditation or analyze, then finally you think there's a nothing. So according to Hashang, this is the emptiness. This emptiness. Then here Tsongkhapa is a very important one here. Indeed, not at all in the direction or vicinity or of our meditation or emptiness. He said, the way of thinking about meditation emptiness, even though it's not, direction towards the meditation on emptiness. Then secondly, Tsongkhapa said continuously, but, this is very important for me, but even if you were to allow, there is the meditation on emptiness. Look at, but even if you were to allow that it is a meditation on emptiness, you would not then go on to say that those with the knowledge that come from their cultivation of faultless methods of meditation, but they have found the unmistaken meaning of emptiness, should meditate on emptiness alone, and not cultivate conventional state of mind, practicing patience and to deeds, or alternatively. Now Tsongkhapa, actually the way of your meditating emptiness is totally the wrong direction. If just in case, even though if I accept the way of your meditating emptiness is the right, how you can say you can meditate only emptiness? Tsongkhapa actually saying, how you can say in order to achieve Buddhahood, how you can say you can meditate only emptiness? You need to practice only emptiness. You don't need any other practices. Tsongkhapa saying, how you can say it this way? Then look at continuously. Do not have to stop at those conventional state of mind in the variety of way, upholding them the current practice to say such a thing contradict all the scripture. Then he said, actually the meditation on emptiness according to your idea is totally wrong. Even though if I accept, yes, your meditation of emptiness is right, but you say just meditate on only emptiness is you cannot say. You have to meditate on many other things. So next, so before we start a new topic, does anybody has any question?
Does it mean that emptiness of elephant need to be an elephant? Based on elephant, you have emptiness of elephant. So you will not meditate on nothing or empty, because to establish emptiness of elephant, elephants need to be established first.
So related to the analogy, what the Dalai Lama said. So when you do analytical meditation, analyze this kind of pen, then finally you cannot find anything from this side. It is not, doesn't mean you realize emptiness. You realize emptiness. So after you do lot of study, lot of investigation, you feel there's a nothing. There's a nothing. this is the indication, this is the sign of the pen is not exist independently. It doesn't mean you understood, you realize emptiness. So when we meditate on emptiness of elephant, so now I'm saying, first we establish elephant. So I hope you remember, I told many times, when we meditate on emptiness, you should not have a distance between emptiness or ultimate truth and conventional truth. You should not have a distance. You should not have a discriminate or ultimate or emptiness is very important, not the conventional. Or conventional truth is very important, not the ultimate. You must have a balanced thoughts for the two truths. So without elephant, you cannot say, even though you cannot say emptiness of the elephant, because elephant is the basis to talk about emptiness of the elephant. Without emptiness of the elephant, then you cannot, possess, you cannot establish elephant. Because elephant we can establish based on what? Based on parts, based on cause and condition. Based on so many cause and condition, we can establish elephant. Everything happen because elephant is not exist independently. Therefore, we can establish elephant. This was so important in the future. When you think about the true truth, you should think the true truth is equally important. Equally important. For Shasang, conventional truth are not important because no need. If you have some thoughts about conventional truth like compassion, kindness, tolerance, then you have a thoughts to bound in the samsara. You can be only freed if you don't have any thoughts. That means nothingness in your mind. Your mind is totally blank. There's not any thoughts. So when you meditate emptiness, of course, some of you try to meditate on emptiness. But still, based on my understanding, so I told you, I think 1990s, my teacher was very old. He's still, very healthy. So he could not read the old texts. Because too old, it wasn't clear. He cannot read. His eyes very big. Then he asked me to come to read for him. It's very old text. It's printed in Tibet. When I read the text for him, I just read. I don't need to think about. When I read, the text mentions very clearly. When you explain on emptiness, when you introduce emptiness, you must have another way to explain. When you meditate on emptiness, you have another way. You should not have just one way to explain emptiness, one way to meditate on emptiness. Even though it's so difficult to understand, these two different ways, the person, who are interested in meditate emptiness, what you need to do, when you need a certain object, any kinds of object is fine. Is good object, bad object, doesn't. Any kinds of object. Also, you just meditate on emptiness of yourself. Then you just, do analytical meditation, or you do some kind of examination about you. Then just touch your head. It's me? No, it's not me. Am I inside the head? Maybe not. If you study piece by piece until you are, fit, then you really feel, I cannot find by myself. Then again you study continuously. then still you cannot find yourself where you are, who you are. Then finally you can have a very strange feeling, oh, I think I exist, actually look like I'm not exist. You can have very kind of scary feeling, sense of scare, you feel scared. You cannot say I'm not exist. Right? Can anybody say I'm not exist? You cannot. Because if you really say I cannot exist, then you just hit your hand on the table, you feel pain, touch someone, then yes, this means I exist, yes, I exist, I'm here. That's why one of the famous Tibetan master, Lamrim Chenmo, he's very famous, but he's bit, we can say, bit crazy monk. He said, he's very intelligent. He said, when I touch to needle, I feel I exist. When I do investigation by myself, I feel I'm not exist. I'm not exist. That's why he said, according to the Nagarjuna school, there's not conventional. What we call Thanyetsama. He said there's not conventional perceiver. Do you remember, Sona? We have two types of perceive and engage, but we call mistaken and unmistaken.
Mistaken and
so what are the six minds? We have used the people deceive, no. Anyway, he said, there's not conventional kind of. He said there's no really common mind to agree everybody. There's not really common things we can agree everybody. So that's why when you do study about yourself, just touch on something, then you can feel, yes, I exist. Do study about yourself, then you can feel I'm not exist. Then when you touch to something, you can feel it. That means you are exist just conventionally. After you do a lot of study about yourself, you cannot find yourself. This means this is the indication you are not exist independently. But you should not have a mistake in her. You should not think I know in this emptiness. This is such an indication. So that's why what Tsongkhapa said here in the three principle, part of the three principle, right? When you think about interdependent, certainly when you have a thought about interdependence, certainly you have a thought, nothing exists inherently. When you think about nothing exists inherently, you should think about everything exists dependently. So you should have two thoughts at the same time. Then from the two thoughts, you can free from the permanence and annihilation. So, the Hasham view is still, so you have to you read continuously, precisely, then you can understand.
The way that you just explained that, he says that emptiness is non-affirming negative because nothing exists independently and still it exists.
Yeah, exists conventionally, not exists independently. Exists, but not independently. Independently, not, dependently, not independently. So next for you, like as a homework, yeah. Oh yes. Okay. Do you remember? I think when we study about the Guru Yoga. Guru Yoga, there's a particular English word. There's a particular English word, but here, in order to achieve Buddhahood, you must be free from samsara. Samsara. You can be freed from samsara when you practice wisdom. Wisdom, through practice of wisdom, you can be free from samsara. Samsara. If you only practice wisdom, if you only practice emptiness, you can be free from samsara, but you remains in a plenticity, the English word. Complacent.
Very comfortable and you won't do anything.
Yeah.
Complacent.
Complacent somehow. This why, if you only practice meditation on emptiness, only practice wisdom, it can reduce all the negative thoughts. Then you don't have any negative thoughts. Then you remains in the bliss state. That's why the great compassion is very important. And the end, after you achieve Buddhahood, still great compassion is so important, because due to the great compassion, then you will take a rebirth. Complacing something. Complacent. So look at that's why you talk about, in order to avoid the samsara, in order to free from samsara, you must practice wisdom. In order to avoid the bliss state, you must practice the great compassion. Right? So this is the meaning of the... Because it's for you, when you read that English text, sometimes it's very difficult because it's translated based on Tibetan language. Certain Tibetan language you never heard, in your life. It's so difficult to understand. So next, as a homework for you, okay. Homework for you, you must study why all the Bodhisattva practices include into 6 paramitas. Then there's, I think, 8 different reasons. So before we move new subjects, so I thought I should explain a little bit this one. Page number... page number 93. Page number 93 first and the third paragraph. Obedience position. Now look at page number 93. Opponent's position. Now it looks like the answer by the Hasang. I do not assert that generosity and so forth are unnecessary, but rather that they are fully present in the state of mind that lacks any thoughts. Because the absence of adherence to a grief and depression make non-apprehending generosity fully present. This is also very interesting. He said, the Nula reply by Hassan, I do not assert, I do not say, generosity and for the unnecessary. There's a necessary. But rather that they are fully present in the state of mind that lacks any thoughts. That is, when you meditate on emptiness, according to Hasang, you are meditating on emptiness. At that moment, all the practices are there. All the practices are there. He was saying like this. Jinba, so jinja, jinja, jimu, jimbi, mimic jinba, sangla. They fully present in the state of mind that lacks any thoughts, because the absence of adherence, what does mean English meaning? Huh?
Absence of adherence. Together.
Giver, give, recipient, right? That means, look at, you do remember the three circle. For example, the things, the giving, the giver, the receiver. So when you practice of generosity, you should have these three thoughts together. You should think, I am not exist independently. The thing which I am going to give also not exist independently. The person who received the thing also not exist independently. That's why he was saying, even though when you have a total lack of any thoughts, that time the practice of generosity is there. And it was because the absence of adherence to giver, give, and recipient make non-apprehending generosity fully present. Is that right? Then, by saying Tsongkhapa, reply, if they are fully present in the state of mind that lacks thoughts, then when non-Buddhist meditation are in the meditative equipoise, even in the single-pointed state of serenity, all perfection would be fully present, because they also are not adherence to the giver, give, and recipient. Then they are saying, if you say in this way, then the non-Buddhist practitioner who practice the nothingness, that's mean the person must have a six perfection practice. This is a very important argument, because when next time when we study about the six paramita, practice of six paramita, practice of great compassion, bodhicitta, renunciation, everything is look like a very very nice analogy. It is given by Maitreya Buddha. Maitreya Buddha said that Mahayana, all the Mahayana practices are look like very big kind of machine, very big machine. When you press one button, whole machinery is functioning, shaking, right? You just press one button, all parts of engine is function. Because now we have a very advanced machine. When you press just simple button, all parts of machine is active. It's so important for us. For example, when you practice great compassion, you should not just practice only great compassion. At the same time, you must include all the practices. Practices of bodhicitta, emptiness, six paramita. For example, even though when you practice generosity, motivate the practice of generosity motivated by great compassion. The practice of generosity, caused by bodhicitta. Then make sure when you practice generosity, you should not have any sense of attachment about the object, the person who giving, the giver, the person who receive. Then when you practice generosity, make sure you practice the generosity based on practice of ethic. So also when you practice generosity, make sure you have a mindfulness. Make sure you have the joyness. That means one single practice. When you practice just one single practice, you must link with all the practices. Even though when you lead a light, you must link all practices even though when you lead a single light. This means when you practice generosity, you must include other 5 perfection within the practice of generosity. That's why how we can, link with all of them. When you give something, you must have a good motivation, sense of great compassion. When you give something, you must have a mindfulness. I'm giving this to this person, mindfulness. You give things based on, good action, ethically. If you, even though you're giving some food to someone, you just it look like you are throwing food. Right? This means you are not acting ethically. Then, when you give something to someone, it doesn't matter the thing is big or small. If you are giving with a sense of joyness, this is one. Then, with the mindfulness, with the joyness, be ethical, with a good motivation, then make sure you have the perfect kind of patience, right? Patience or patient? Yeah. Make sure you want to offer something to someone. If the person is fully reject to accept the thing, then you get angry, upset. Make sure then you have the patience. That's why in Mahayana you cannot practice just single practices. All your practices you must link with all the practices. Also, we talk about benefit of bodhicitta as well. Make sure you're not going to forget the practice of bodhicitta. That means all your actions, in the normal actions, with the religious action, whatever you do, you just think I'm doing this thing to increase my bodhicitta. I'm doing this to have a more progress about my bodhicitta. That means the practice of bodhicitta is look like the main practice of in your life. All other practices must be caused to increase the bodhicitta, must be caused to further and generate the bodhicitta. That means all your practice for what? Practice for bodhicitta. So that's why you can see how you can link all these practice within just simple practices, but you can link with all your practices. Okay, so this we can stop our class today here. But for you as a homework, number 1, you must learn how to practice wisdom and methods unionly according to this Lamrim. This Lamrim, number 1. Then homework number 2, if you practice separately, why you cannot achieve Buddhahood? Number 3, everybody must study all the Buddhist Mahayana practices, include into 6 paramita. How? Why? How and why? Okay, here's English word here said. How all the practice and precepts are included in the 6 perfection. Number 1 here, right? What the precepts are based upon, how all the precepts are included in the 6 perfections. There are 8 different ways you can include all the precepts into the 6 perfection. There's, I think, 8 different ways. No, 6. 6 different way. It isn't. You can include all the precepts are included into the 6 paramita or 6 perfection. Also, make sure you understood. In the precept is not talking about vows. It's only talking about the practices or deeds of the Bodhisattva. Okay. Any question? And number 2, which number 2? Oh yeah. How all the precepts are included in the 6 perfection. Number 3. Oh yeah. If you practice separately, why you cannot achieve Buddhahood? Then the true practice of wisdom and methods, you need to link with the two kaya, dharma kaya and rupa kaya. 2 kayas. Enough? Do you need more homework? Okay. Any question?
Next week is the last class and then it stops. Right?
Next, yeah. Then I think we have one more class, right? One or two? Only one. Yeah.